If you had to choose just a handful of famous names to represent your nation, freedom-fighting musician, that favorite piece, happiness man, marijuana. How about the bombastic reggae fusion singer, Usain Bolt, Bob Marley and Shaggy aside, there are many notable names that hail from Jamaica. Including proponent of the Pan-Africanism movement, Marcus Garvey, folklorist and writer Louise Bennett, Cavalier Miss Lou, one of the top 5 fastest female sprinters Shelly Fraser-Price, and retired Basketball Hall of Famer Patrick Ewing, and who can overlook football stars like Rolando Aarons and Raheem Sterling. For those seeking a taste of some Jamaican YouTubers, be sure to check out my girl Honesty Thompson for some more on traveling tip and more of Jamaica cuisine. When a country's local cuisine has been influenced by a mess of different cultures, you're often left with a crazy selection of different foods that somehow all fuse together nicely. That's Jamaican cuisine in a nutshell, as you can go from enjoying something as spicy as curry seasoned goat to sweeter tropical fruits like jackfruit. Apparently Spanish settlement introduced dishes like esco beach fish before Chinese influence crept in and introduced more Asian flavors. Some common cuisines to Jamaica include ackee and saltfish, jerk chicken and corned beef. You may also come across Jamaican patties made from beef, chicken or saltfish, rundown for a salt, mackerel and coconut milk or cream, or a selection of bread and pastries like grater cake, spice bun and bullet cakes. Number 8. Jamaican patois. Jamaican. No, it's not some delicious French dessert. That was actually the local dialect heard throughout Jamaica, also known locally as Jamaican Creole.
Everything in the house flood out. Don't me talk about everything. No bed, no dead to sleep on.
Derived from English, that's why bears heavy influence from West Africa, especially from African slaves that were brought to Jamaica during the 17th century. Though you'll recognize some standard English words impact, well, the language is vastly different, featuring only 21 phonemes compared to English's 44. And between 9 and 16 different vowel sounds. Also, unlike English, and patois doesn't offer the benefit of tense indicators like ed, instead using invariant particles like dn and a, which are unable to stand on their own. While much of patois vocabulary is African in origin, and some is pulled from English, for small portions were borrowed from Spanish, Hindi, Arabic, and Portuguese vocabulary, as well as Irish and Scottish dialect.
Everything gonna be Irish.
Number 7. Ahead of its time. For an island tucked in the midst of the Caribbean, it's quite innovative, and not just regionally to the Caribbean either. Though some countries have been enjoying the benefits of a public railway transportation system for quite some time. In 1845, the British colony of Jamaica built their Railways of Jamaica, marking the first line opened outside of Europe and North America, along with some of the other firsts that Jamaica achieved. It was the first country in the Caribbean to gain its independence, launch its own website, monitor literacy, and most importantly, become featured on Snapchat. It's also believed that Jamaica had running water and electricity before many cities in the United States, and had a series of phone lines so sophisticated that AT&T copied it for their own American setup. Number 6. Religion of Jamaica. Outside of Vatican City, is known for having the most churches per square mile, typically averaging about 2.75 religious establishments, to cater to the majority of Protestant and Roman Catholic Christians. The country is comprised of approximately 64% Christian followers, and while that far surpasses the 29,000 plus Rastafarians, Rastafarian Islam is the largest indigenous religion to Jamaica. Hidden beneath all of this religious faith, however, is the history of Abia, a form of alleged sorcery and witchcraft initially developed by West African slaves. Phobia spread to Jamaica during the 18th century and wasn't really frowned upon until Takus War, during which an Abia man or Abia witch doctor was caught providing the rebels with information. Oboe was made illegal, and anyone caught practicing it would be jailed or flogged. Although the archaic laws that limited practice of the voodoo-like religion were since repealed in 2013. Number 5. Port Royal. Depicted in the Pirates of the Caribbean series as a riotous and seemingly lawless place for the Caribbean's undesirables to converge, Port Royal was, well, exactly that. Nicknamed the most wicked and sinful city in the world, Port Royal was once a way station for pirates and the largest city in the Caribbean that was survived years of piracy. Even serving as a place of execution for the Britons had proved no match for Mother Nature in June of 1692, after the city had experienced the growth in population and construction and earthquake collapsed much of the northern section. A second destructive earthquake in January of 1907 demolished much of the rebuilt city, liquefying more of the unstable sand. Port Royal stands today as a redeveloped tourist attraction and complete with 17th century elements of a once bustling port. Number 4. Prehistoric people of Jamaica, before pirates and slaves inhabited the lands of this Caribbean tropical beauty. Jamaica was home to a series of indigenous colonies dating as far back as 4000 BC. Long before the Arawakan people were known to inhabit a Caribbean island, Jamaica was occupied by the cave-dwelling Guadalajara Bay. The Guadalajara Bay or Timoni were a Caribbean tribe believed to have stemmed from the Taino people and were inhabitants of western Cuba. And around 300 AD, Jamaica saw the arrival of a second group of prehistoric people, the Solenoid or Ignoramus, later found to be an early wave of the Arawakan from South America. The Solenoids brought a skill for ceramics by 650 AD. The Taino traveled from Venezuela to Jamaica and absorbed and enslaved the Solenoid before eventually assimilating into Arawakan culture themselves. Number 3. Jamaica in sports. We briefly mentioned Jamaica's claim to athletic fame, Usain Bolt, but there's more to the country's athletics than the award-winning sprinter. Many sports make up Jamaica's most popular, but among them, you'll likely hear most about track and field football, cricket, and in most recent years basketball. As a time Olympic gold medalist, both proved in the country is serious about its sprinting, but the Jamaican national football team has also proven to be a prolific team of athletes. In 1991, 1998, 2005, 2008 and 2010, Jamaica's football team won the Caribbean Cup. Also in 1998, they reigned over Japan in that year's FIFA World Cup. A bit more successful than its football team is the national cricket team, which has pulled ahead in 10 regional 4-day competitions and 7 Web Cups. Maybe more surprising than all of this is the Jamaican bobsled team, which competed in the 1988, 1990 to 1994, 1998 and 2002 and 2014 Winter Olympics. Number 2. Jamaican world records. As mentioned previously, Jamaica takes its sprinting seriously, which is why it currently holds the men's record for the 100, 150 and 200 meter dashes. Of course, that record goes to Usain Bolt, but he's far from the only impressive Jamaican out there. In fact, local Christopher Taylor took the 400-meter dash record for the under-18 boys age group, beating out 15-year-old karate James' prior record by 0.01 seconds. Beyond sports, Jamaicans also hold the record for the most books donated to charity in a week, with over 65,700 books in September of 2016. Isaiah Triffers Johnson broke the record for most wins against Tex Robot in Tetris Ultimate in a 24-hour time period, earning 614 wins. Number 1. Jamaican independence on August 6th of each year. Jamaica celebrates its own Independence Day, but an independence from whom, you ask, prior to becoming its own sovereign state. After a series of rebellions and the formation of the local political parties of the People's National Party and Jamaica Labour Party, the island was colonized by the British. Actually, the Spanish Empire took it first from the indigenous people. But after 146 years of Spanish rule, the British were sure to snatch it and add it to its collection of colonies. Ultimately, Jamaica owes its independence partially to World War II, which created the decolonization movement. In 1962, the Jamaica Independence Act was passed by the United Kingdom, though it remained within the Commonwealth.